So, what do you like best about Ahsoka Tano? And spoilers for people that haven't watched it yet. What do you think about her, or what did you think about her decision to leave the Jedi Order in the Clone Wars?
Well, first and foremost, I just adore Ahsoka. They
Hmm.
say attachments are the way to the dark side. Well, then I have a problem because I am attached to Ahsoka. I care so much about her. She literally has become, I feel like, an extension of me at this point. She's become a family member at this point. I just absolutely adore her. I look up to her, which sounds weird, but, oftentimes I do think, what would Ahsoka do? Because I think she really is such a good, um, I hate to say person, because I guess technically she's an alien, but, she's just such a good um, character through and through, and she always wants to do what's right. And so, for her, walking away from the Jedi Order was something that she felt she had no choice. That was what was right. And, in my opinion, I think that is what's right. Um, I think you could look at it two ways. Necessarily, was it the right thing to do? People have different opinions on that. But for her, had to do what was right because she no longer could trust and she no longer could give her heart to something like the Jedi Order and not believe in what she was fighting for. So, if you're not passionate about something, if you can no longer believe in it or no longer trust it, then you can't give your all to it. It's like if I'm sometimes an all or nothing type of person. You either get my 100% or like nothing at all because there's no in between. And I think that was Ahsoka, and so I think she had no other choice but to walk away because she no longer believed in what she was fighting for.
I read a great article recently that I think that I'm going to paraphrase the hell out of it, but it's basically the title was something along the lines of there were powerful female Jedi before Rey came
I
along from the
I
Force.
read that
Oh, you
too.
did? Oh, good. That's awesome. I think I sent it to you on Twitter or something because I was like, hey, look at this because she's
Yeah,
mentioned
and
and
then
it's
I
awesome.
I shared it with Dave Filoni and the whole Rebels crew,
Oh,
and
nice.
everyone was honored
It was a great
with that
article.
article.
It really was. And and don't get me wrong, I love Rey. I love that she's an empowered character. And I'm so excited, I'm so excited she's there. And, my nieces can look up to a woman in Star Wars. But I mean, Ahsoka was there first. And
Well,
it's so, but she is, Ahsoka is one of many, amazing female characters in the Clone Wars. I mean, I think Ventress is fascinating. She's a fascinating character.
absolutely.
And even in Rebels, I mean, Hera is like one of my favorite characters, um, and it's great. And I love that inclusion. I love the diversity, the inclusion. I like that there's women, there's men, there's aliens, there's it's everything, and that's what I love about these shows because they really thoroughly explore that. It's a
Yeah.
big universe out there.
Yeah, no, and thank you for bringing this up
Hmm.
because trust me, I am obsessed with Ray. I'm obsessed with Daisy Ridley. I just was so excited and loved episode 7.
Hmm.
But I read so many articles that were written about, thank goodness there's finally a strong female character. And, Clone Wars and Rebels have literally consumed the past 10 years of my life. And
Hmm.
I work with people like Dave Filoni and Athena Portillo and Henry Gilroy and Carrie Beck and all of these creators that are creating these strong female characters, and they've existed. I mean, Ahsoka and Ventress, and I mean, we got to learn so much more about Padme, and Sabine and Hera, and there's this literally this plethora of female characters, amazing female characters over the past 10 years that I feel like people completely glossed over and acted like a decade
Hmm.
of strong female characters didn't even exist.
Right.
And that was frustrating to read. I mean, I'll be honest, because there's this generation of girls and boys that have grown up with the Clone Wars and the Rebels characters now, that did have that upbringing with these strong characters. And I was so I was so happy to see that that was recognized and to see,
Absolutely.
Dave Filoni and his writing staff, they care so much about both genders, both fans, strong female characters, writing well balanced characters. And I was so proud to see that they were recognized. And so I think it was a girl named
Yeah.
Estella Ramirez that wrote the article. Thank you, Estella, that awesome, amazing article. Like I said, I shared it with everyone, and everyone was very, very flattered. And Ashley, thank you for
Sure.
recognizing these characters because they're important and they play a huge part in the Star Wars universe. And I think they have impacted an entire generation of fans.
They have, and I'm so glad that my nieces and my nephews and even me. I mean, I watch Clone Wars and Star Wars Rebels, and I'm getting close to 30 now, but I don't care. I love it, and I'm so glad that they're being brought up on these shows, and they're seeing that yes, women can be they can be pilots, they can be Mandalorians, they can be they can be anything, and
Yeah.
I like that gender isn't really addressed. Like it doesn't really matter that there's a Hera is piloting the ship. It doesn't really matter. She's a good pilot, and that's all that matters. Her gender doesn't matter. She is who she is, and I love that. Like the writing is phenomenal, and I
Thank
love it
you.
in both shows.
Well,
It's really amazing, and
I say thank you like I have anything to. I don't.
well, you do have a part. I mean, I mean, you're a huge part. My God.
I guess I say thank you for recognizing it. It's
Yeah.
that really is Dave Filoni and his crew,
Hmm.
and and just the amazing stories that they come up with. But it's I think they're telling very important and positive stories. And people do ask me. They say, well, how do you create a strong female character? And you know, I I point to Dave and I point to his writing staff, and I think what you just brought up is very important. Is to write a strong character, to
Hmm.
take the gender out of it. And if you notice, especially with Ahsoka, um, they never point out the fact that she's a girl
Nope.
ever. In the very beginning, I think it was pointed out once in the movie. If that, I have to go back and see. But throughout the series, she was just Anakin's Padawan,
She
and
snips.
she snips, and it had nothing to do with her gender. And I think that that's how you write a strong character, because
Absolutely.
if you quit pointing out their gender,
Hmm.
then the audience doesn't focus on it. They just focus on the actual character.
And Rey was written in a similar way as
Yes.
well in The Force Awakens. I don't think it was ever addressed even once that she is a woman that can pilot the Falcon and also have force powers, and she's the legend. I mean, she
Yeah.
is. I was so excited. Um, what are some of your favorite Clone Wars episodes? And did you ever encounter any personal challenges? I know you spoke earlier about, how it kind of took you about like 6 months or so to really kind of get a feel for Ahsoka as a character.
Um, some of my favorite Clone Wars episodes. I personally love the Mortis trilogy.
Oh, it's so good.
I think that arc is just such a beautiful arc from every angle, from the story to the animation to the performances. I mean, that's when we first met Sam Witwer. He played the son in that
Hmm.
episode. And I mean, the scenes, my goodness, with the son and Anakin, or Matt Lanter's performance, I mean, just incredible. Um, so
Visually, it was beautiful.
Oh my gosh,
Gorgeous.
visually. Yeah,
Yeah.
visually it was gorgeous. For Ahsoka, those episodes were a lot of fun because I got to play an older Ahsoka, I got to play Dark Side Ahsoka. So I got to play three different versions of Ahsoka in this arc, which, was difficult from a performance standpoint. It definitely took more than three takes for some of those scenes. Um, but I also love the season 5 finale arc of Clone Wars. I think those are really important stories um, for Ahsoka's overall storyline, and I really loved telling those stories. And then Rebels. I will tell you, the best is yet to come.
I'm so excited.
Definitely, I'm excited about the second half of this season and what's
Mhm.
ahead for Ahsoka. So I can't really say more, but I can't really say more, but it's amazing.
I can't wait. I was actually going to ask you if, we'll see more of Ahsoka. Can you answer that at least? Like, are we going to see more of Ahsoka?
Oh yeah,
Oh,
you're
good. Okay.
definitely going to see more.
Great, great. That's all I want. Um, and I loved, can I just say, in one of the episodes when Ahsoka and Rex saw each other again,
Oh yeah.
oh, that was beautiful. My God, and Rex kind of looks like my dad now. It just really, I
Oh,
kept calling, I'm like, oh, it's Raymond. Like, there he is. Like, yeah. He just, like this kind of like bulky, guy with like a bald head or whatever. And I'm just like, I look at that, and I'm like, that's my dad right there. And when they hugged, I just thought it was, that was great. That
oh
was a
yeah.
really great moment.
I,
How did you feel
I
about it?
oh gosh, that moment meant so much to
Hmm.
me. And
Hmm.
actually, it it was definitely life imitating art right there because Dee Bradley Baker and I have a relationship that is so similar to Ahsoka and Rex. Um, it's definitely family at this point, which I feel like Ahsoka and Rex are. But Ahsoka and Rex have more of like a definitely brother sister role, but more of like a mentor role.
Mm.
Even though Ahsoka outranks Rex, as she says in the Clone Wars movie, where she's like, "So if you're a captain and I'm a Jedi, then technically I outrank you, right?" I'll always remember that line. But Ahsoka's always known that Rex, he says, "Well, experience outranks everything," and she knows that to be true,
Hmm.
and so. She really respects Rex. And, Dee Bradley Baker is a legend in the voiceover world. I mean, he just is one of the busiest voice actors I know. And so to have the opportunity to kind of learn from him since 2006, I just feel so blessed. And we have that, Ahsoka Rex relationship. So, when when the Clone Wars ended, when we finished recording those episodes, honestly, I didn't know if I would ever get to record with Dee again as Ahsoka and Rex.
Hmm.
That was unclear. I didn't know if those days were behind us and gone forever. And so when Dee walked into the studio that day, and I realized that we were going to get to record together again, um, I literally started crying. I started
Oh.
crying immediately, like the second he walked into the studio. And then when we recorded that scene, they actually have B-roll, and you'll see me wiping away tears. I couldn't get through the scene without crying. And then once we were done, he came over and hugged me, and he said, "It's a pleasure to serve with you again."
Oh,
And then I lost it.
oh
I
my
mean, I
goodness.
just lost it. So those scenes were definitely, life imitating art, except the fact that Ahsoka would not cry about it. So um, I definitely was a lot more emotional than Ahsoka would ever be.
I feel you on being emotional. Someone could call me a banana and I would just cry. I don't know. It's like it's silly, but um my goodness. So in what ways has Ahsoka changed in Star Wars Rebels for you? Now we're talking about like an older Ahsoka who I think she is probably in her 30s now.
Yeah, Ahsoka,
Yeah.
I think she's actually like a year younger than me at this
Hmm.
point. So I think she's somewhere between 32 and 33.
Hmm.
So yeah, so she's in her early 30s.
Oh, that's so
And
cool.
she's changed quite a bit between Clone Wars and Rebels. And it actually took me a while to find out who Ahsoka was now.
Hmm.
Um, because, now she's much more of like the Obi-Wan, um, or the Yoda role where she's more of the mentor,
Hmm.
and she's giving advice, and um, she's not, I think everyone wanted Ahsoka to come in and, have like Ezra and Ahsoka be like the Anakin and Ahsoka. And it's not that. That's Kanan and Ezra.
Hmm.
That's that relationship. Ahsoka is more of like the Jedi Master role, even though she's no longer a Jedi. Um, but she is just there to be more of a mentor and to be in and out. And Ahsoka's also very guarded and very mysterious. I mean, we don't know much. I don't know too much about the time in between Clone Wars and Rebels, but she's been on her own,
Hmm.
and she's a lot more internal and a lot more guarded.
Yeah, when she came down the ladder, I think when she climbed down the ladder was like the first time we saw her, and I was like, ah, there's my girl. There she is. And I did, a lot of the time I was expecting, especially like in the first season, I was expecting Ahsoka to take Ezra on as a Padawan. And then I'm surprised that the story arc actually wasn't that way. But I do like it. I think it's better because, Kanan and Ezra really do have their thing going on, and they are a unit. I mean, I
Yeah.
can't think of one without the other at this point.
Yeah, Ahsoka is more consumed with this guy
Mhm.
and who he is. She does wonder who this mysterious Sith Lord is. So
Yep.
we'll see if she finds out.
I know. Oh my goodness, I can't wait. The Sith Lord who will not be named.
Yeah.
So other than Ahsoka, who's your favorite character on Star Wars Rebels, and do you have a favorite episode on there?
Oh my goodness. Well, let's see. I'm a sucker for droids. Um,
I love
R2D2
Chopper.
is my favorite of all, but I love Chopper.
Hmm.
So, any new droid is automatically an obsession of mine. So definitely love Chopper. But, I do love Sabine and Hera. I
Yeah.
think, they kick butt. And I love, maybe I love the whole cast of Rebels. I mean, my goodness, they are such a great cast. But I've really bonded with Vanessa Marshall and Tia, and it's really nice to have more girls in the Star Wars universe. I mean, for so long, it was mostly just me and Kat Tabor in the studio, and
Hmm.
so it's been fun to kind of have two more girls in the studio on a regular basis.
That's awesome. Yeah, I really like. I mean, I think the whole cast is fantastic. I mean, Ezra, I look at him and like I see my nephew and I'm like, "Oh my goodness, this is going to be Tyler in a couple of years." And, and Ezra's just such a, he's the Luke, I feel, of the cast. I mean, he's the Luke Skywalker. He's
Very
young Luke Skywalker when Luke was
Luke
like, "I don't
Skywalker.
know what I'm doing."
Oh, I realized you can't see the Tsum Tsums, but yeah, here's a Luke Skywalker one. How adorable is he?
Oh.
Sorry, I'm just obsessed. Um, there's an Ewok. I mean, seriously,
Oh.
Ewok, Tsum Tsum, obsessed.
When you bring an Ewok into the picture, forget it. It's just, it's over. It's her turning the table.